then this might be the game for you. Howdy doody guys, you're here with Matt, welcome to the channel, let's get stuck in. So today we are gonna look at the game Nobody Saves the World. Let's dive on in, waste no time, let's get to it. Nobody Saves the World is a fun, quirky, simple, yet challenging 2D dungeon crawler developed and published by Drinkbox Studios, who gave us beautifully made games like Guacamelee and Severed. In Nobody Saves the World, you are Nobody, and Nobody is this ghostly figured, pale, he looks like he's wearing a white morph suit with black holes in his eyes kind of guy. Don't know how to explain it, but that's him right there. Either way, the premise of the story is that the world is in chaos with this gargantuan fungal creature that's trying to slowly take over the world from a demon dimension called the Calamity. Whilst this is happening, the hero Nostra Magnus, who has defeated the Calamity before, is nowhere to be found. He's missing. When you start the game, you happen to start off in this weird little shack. When you walk out of it, you happen to notice Nostra Magnus's building next door. You go on in, you venture, you snoop around, you go through his belongings as you do, and you find this magical wand which gives you the wonderful game mechanic of changing forms. While also there, you run into Randy the Rad. Randy is the rival of your character in the game. He's also Nostra Magnus's apprentice, so he feels entitled to the wand, and he's meant to be the hero who saves Nostra Magnus and the world, and you're kind of in his way. So he's kind of like the annoying anti-hero-y kind of rival character who you meet multiple times through the game. So from here you get pushed on the quest forward by the other characters in the game, assuming the role of the accidental hero because Nostra Magnus is nowhere to be found, to essentially collect all of these little gem pieces that will be put together to make the gem that will unlock the barrier that is stopping you from entering the big bad guy's base to go stop him and save the world. So as well as the main story quests of doing the major dungeons and collecting the shards, there are also smaller dungeons which you can do or have to do so you can get the stars, which are a kind of currency which when you build them up allows you to pay for the toll to open the doors to those major dungeons. As well as that, these dungeons also offer side quests with NPCs, a whole plethora of monsters and smashable objects to build up some currency, as well as also mini quests that are to do with developing your form, so you can level them up, rank them up, and get better skills, so on and so forth. When it comes to forms or form development in the game, guys, in the main menu there is a tree or a web of different forms that are locked and unlocked. You have to master the preceding forms to unlock the next forms. You have to essentially get them up to a certain rank, which is what you would quantify the level of your form as, from D all the way up to S rank, which is perfect. Some forms might only need one form to be mastered to a certain rank, while other forms may need more than one. Each form is unique in physical stature, stats, as well as unique abilities. What I mean by physical stature is some will be smaller or bigger than other forms. This does affect how you move that character through the world in the game, as well as some of them having the ability to swim through water or float through the air. When it comes to stats, some of them will be faster, slower, stronger, weaker, more defense, more health, less health, so on and so forth. And finally, when it comes to the special abilities, as well as having base abilities that are unique specifically and locked in for that form, you'll also have abilities that are passive and also abilities that can be unlocked as you rank them up. These unlockable and passive abilities can be given to other forms by putting them in their unlockable slot, which you can unlock as your main base level levels up. What this allows is for you to essentially mix and mash up all the different abilities with one single form, or different forms having different builds of forms. Skill tokens can be used to level up abilities, both passive and active. Skill tokens can be found from completing dungeons, defeating enemies, as well as from the merchant, which is located all around the world map. The merchant offers not just skill tokens, but also passive skills that you can actually equip to your character and level up, stat boosts, stars to open up gates to the major dungeons, as well as other little bits and bobs. The repetitious nature of the dungeons in the game is balanced out by a couple of factors. One are rules that are placed on the dungeon, usually one benefiting you and one burdening you. For example, you might have 1.2 times damage to all monsters, but then all monsters have the ability to shoot homing missiles if you hit them. That kind of thing. One the good, one the bad. As well as that, the dungeon's monsters might also have wards. What wards are essentially like a rock, paper, scissors elemental system in the game where monsters might have a ward on them, making them invulnerable until hit with the same element as that ward. Most of the skills have different elements that are attached to them, so you need to hit them with that skill to remove their invulnerability to then be able to defeat them. There are no difficulty settings in Nobody Saves the World, and as for replayability, the game offers that to you in, I guess, 3 to 4 different ways. The first one is online or local co-op multiplayer, so you could play the game again with a friend, and that does add a new element of fun for you to enjoy the game. 2 is the New Game Plus aspect of the game, where if you finish the game, your stats and everything about your character will roll over to a new save, where you start the game again as your current build or your current fully decked out character, and away you go into a much more challenging version of the game with all your skills and stats and all that stuff intact. If you do want to 100% complete the game, you will have to do 2 playthroughs so you finish not just the standard game, but also New Game Plus, so do keep that in mind. The third thing regarding replayability would be the DLC known as Frozen Hearth. So Frozen Hearth offers you 2 new forms, as well as a new area, which within that area is a dungeon, which is specifically made to give you more puzzle-esque style dungeon experience. And the fourth aspect of potential replayability is in the form of a brand new update that just came out just the other day, which involves a new form called the Dino form, as well as an endless impossible dungeon, which the dungeon master gives you tickets based on how far down you get in the dungeon, and with those tickets you can exchange them for statues that you can upgrade to essentially just deck them out and show them off and say, I've got a big statue. Check it out, kind of thing. As well as that, you get the Dino plushie off the Dungeon Master, which is how you get the new Dino form. So I thought that Nobody Saves the World was a visually and audibly great game, which is expected from Drinkbox Studios. The game's mechanics, though repetitious, was still fun, quirky, and enjoyable, and regarding the story, I felt like, even though it was kind of predictable, I still enjoyed it. It had its own kind of coating on it that gave it a bit of plot twists and curveballs, and, you know, they told it in a fairly fun, quirky, goofy, and enjoyable way. The style of dialogue and how they told the story could be annoying or boring for some, and for others, it's fun, it's goofy, it's quirky, it's charming. For me, I'm the later. I enjoyed it. As for the flaws, guys, there's not too many, but if I were to name a few, one, I reckon it would have been a great thing for them to add as a replayability boosting factor, randomly generated dungeons. It would have been good that if you finished the game or you took some time away from it and want to start from scratch again, that you could jump into the game and everything is flipped inside out, upside down, and it's a totally new experience because of the randomly generated dungeon aspect. Another thing, and this thing actually I found really annoying, was not being able to customize the quick form changing wheel that you can use as a quick pop-up. The issue is that all the forms that were on there were the latest forms that you used, and sometimes you would just want to keep certain forms on there that you might not use all the time, but they're super important to have as a quick form change. Otherwise, you just have to go into the menu and go into the thingy and then go there, and then click your form and then come back out again. And in all honesty, it sounds like I'm being lazy, but trust me, if you play the game, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, there could be other little teeny tiny little flaws that could be there if I was to nitpick, say quality of life aspects and repetition in enemies and stuff like that. But honestly, they're pretty small, they're not major enough for me, I'd just be nitpicking. So that's where I'd leave it, those are the major flaws. So guys, now all that's left is to slap a score on this game. The score I gave this game is 8.5 out of 10. So, the reason why I gave it an 8.5, guys, is because, you know, flaws aside, it's still a damn good, fun, quirky, charming, and nostalgia-delivering kind of game. The reason I feel like that about this game, guys, is that it had enough there for me to be motivated to finish the game, which is a pretty big deal. I find that a lot of games, they get a bit lackluster, they get a bit boring, they get a bit this and that, and then I just can't be bothered finishing it. But this game had enough of a story to keep me hooked, as well as a fun enough mechanic like the form development system that made me want to see what forms do what, and what skills can they learn, and what can I do to mix and mash and make a better build, and all of that kind of stuff. And then there's the New Game Plus and everything like that, which allows you to continue going forward if you'd like to. So if you're a fan of the 2D Legend of Zelda series, you enjoy creepy yet charming, light-hearted, quirky graphics, as well as that cool form transformation system that's in this game, then this might be the game for you. If you did want to grab a copy of the game, guys, feel free to head on over to Steam, where you can grab it for $35.95 Australian or $14.99 US. If you did want to get the DLC Frozen Hearth, you can grab that for $7.50 Australian or $4.99 US. Now they're full prices. If you manage to jump on there and snag it for a discount, awesome work. See how you go with it, guys. Let me know what you think of the game. Pop your thoughts down below in the comment section of if you've played this or want to play it or anything about Nobody Saves the World. If you do have any feedback for me or you have a game in mind that you'd love for me to play and review, feel free to pop that in the comment section below as well. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And just to give a quick shout out to Laserlights for giving us these awesome LED RGB lights that you can see in the background. We've got the RGBIC strip here, hexagonal lights here, and the glide bars over there. If you'd like to get 10% off your order, then feel free to use my code, which is GWMZ10 for 10% off. Also, guys, if you did like this video, feel free to smash that like button. And if you'd like to see more content from me, then feel free to hit subscribe and the bell notification icon if you haven't yet. Next, I plan on doing a review on Dome Keeper, so feel free to tune on into that one next, guys. Until then, look, honestly, stay safe, stay sexy, and keep on gaming. See you guys.